All right, gentlemen. How can you hear me? Can you hear me? No? You can hear me. Oh, all right. Okay. How are we all doing? Everybody all right? I can't hear you, sir. For some reason, I can't hear you. All right. Clinton?
Hey, I can hear you now.
Yeah, I can hear Clinton. Sir, I can't hear you.
He may need to go out and come back in. I had that problem.
Okay. I love technology, man. It's like this thing.
I, I am I am trying to get a fancy background like yours. I'm working on it. Don't worry.
Bruh, that one you just went and just chuck it in the background there, and that's it, man. I don't know if you call that fancy. Thank you so very much.
Oh, man.
uh, was it Chino? You right, sir? Oh, your sound, sir. Oh, we can't hear you. Let me see if I can do anything from this side. No, no, your sound is not connecting.
Yeah, we can't hear you, Chidozi.
No. Can you before you enter the studio? Can you have a look at the settings inside there just to make sure you've selected the right mic?
Also, make sure your Bluetooth. It'll be funny if it's connecting to Bluetooth that's in another room. That happens sometimes. It connects to the Bluetooth, but you're nowhere close. Yeah.
That's it. That's it. Excuse me.
How are you doing, Frank?
Yeah, technology is it's something else, man. It's something else. How you been otherwise? Everything okay on your side, sir?
As young as can be, my friend.
Yeah.
As young as can be. It is well. It is well.
That's good. That's good. Well, I'm excited to be on here once again with you guys, and just for us to sharpen one another.
Yeah.
So
it's
family
again. It's Wednesday again. It's Wednesday again, all right.
It's crazy. Just now we'll blink and May will be done, isn't it? Then it's like, all right, let's get ready for summer holidays.
Well, my wife stopped talking to me for 5 minutes this morning. I said to her, babe, could you imagine it's Christmas soon? I didn't hear her for 5 minutes straight.
Yeah, definitely.
Before you wink, it's already there.
Yeah. Am I audible now?
Absolutely, sir. Loud and clear.
All right.
I think you were looking for an escape there, but we did not let you go. You're like, sorry guys, I can't make it. My volume is not there, so
No. You're giving me ideas now. You're giving me ideas now, but it's too late.
It's too late. All right. Well, but it's always good to come on here, gentlemen, and once again, we're just going to sharpen one another and just see how we can stretch our thinking. Because this is where we kind of like just come and challenge our way of thinking and whatever we have to exchange in terms of because we all have different perspectives in the way we look at things. We will continue to talk about looking at how we can manifest our dreams, how we can continue to work on ourselves so that we can see that dream show up in our reality. Because it's one thing, obviously, to have a dream, but to see it to show up. It's like somebody will say, "Come on, can try to wake up. Stop dreaming. It's time to wake up." So that's where we are. Obviously, over the past few weeks, I think we did two sessions so far, talking about manifesting our dreams, and we looked. I think a couple of weeks or over the past couple of weeks, we looked at are we actually owning our dream? And actually, can we actually take ownership, or are we living out somebody else's dream? Because that's where courage comes in. Because I think the challenge is sometimes we think we are building out a dream, but but we've never owned it. And so we had some interesting and powerful conversation here, even when we're talking about that we are not ordinary, because you have to step into the extraordinary to be able to see your dream manifest, and how to lead your life, or and not just to accept your life, because that is what's going to be required. Now this evening, gentlemen, I want us to kind of like just go a little bit deeper, because I think, as we were talking about whether we really own our dream over the past couple of weeks, today we want to look at the clarity question. Do I clearly see my dream? Yeah, now that if I have established, no, yes, it is my dream. It belongs to me. It's, I can confidently say that I own it. Good to see you, sir. Welcome back. Welcome back to the land of the living. You are all from Africa. Yes, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you, gents. We made it.
Yes, we made it, sir. Good to see you. Good to see you. All right. So today I want us just to kind of like just dig into the clarity question, and just to kind of like answer this question: do I clearly see my dream? Because I think this one is key, because we will only be able to pursue our dreams to the extent to how clear we can see it. I just want to read a quote here by Michael Hayes. He says, "If you have a clear vision, you will eventually attract the right strategy. If you don't have a clear vision, no strategy will save you." So that brings us back to the fact that focus is key. We got to be able to see clearly, and for us to be able to see clearly, I guess that's where the conversation is going to kind of like, what do we need to do to be able to see clearly? Because why is a clear dream necessary for success? Because it's easy just to say, oh, I got this dream. And if somebody start to kind of like ask questions, all right, tell me, what do you see? What do you see? Yes, because just for me to say I've got a dream is quite general, isn't it? I have this dream of, becoming rich. Okay. All right. So give us some detail. I've got this dream to be the most amazing speaker. International speaker. All right, there's the dream. So what's the plan? What do you see? I have this dream of building an amazing business. All right, so yeah, break it down. What is it? International? Is it national? Is it like just a cafe on the corner? Is it just selling stuff out of your garage? What is the business you're looking to build? All of those kind of details. And I think, and as we kind of like going to get into the conversation this evening, I think there's a lot of questions that's going to come up, but I think the questions is good, because if we ask the right questions, hopefully we will get some good answers, and I think we will get some great answers, because there's some great minds in here. So did I hear amen? I didn't hear not even one amen. Gentlemen, no great minds in here. We got great minds in here. So
amen, Kendrick.
Thank you, sir. That's just one amen.
I'm shouting amen. I was on mute.
Yes, sir. It looks like Mr. Rigi is frozen, isn't it? Yeah, he's. You might need to go out and come back in, sir. There we go. I was like, it's not moving at all. Oh, there you are. You're back, sir. Good to see you. All right. Now, but let's kind of like get into this one here. Now, knowing exactly what you want is the first step to fulfilling your dream. Why do you guys think that is? Let's kind of like just start there. I know it's very general, but let's just get kind of like a foundation and we just build from there. Why do you guys think think, or maybe you don't even believe that, but knowing exactly what it is you want is the first step to fulfilling your dream. Why is that? Why is it so? Why do you guys think that is? Okay, can I? It's quiet, right?
Well, no, it's not. It's not. Some of us,
Okay, go
I think you made the stake really, really high when you said you have a bunch of very wise men here.
No, the one wise man is waiting for another wise man to start the conversation.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very tough one to claim. But seeing that, we've all had the same reaction, you now understand why we're doing what we're doing. Let's try to answer the question based on what we can think, based on what the Lord is showing us tonight. Right. So, how do you start pursuing what you don't know? Imagine you wake up in the morning, you're in a rush, you want to go to work or you want to go somewhere. So you set an alarm, you wake up, first thing, do all the steps that you have to do in the morning, and you're out of the door. You get in your car, and then you sit down. You're trying to drive out. You're thinking, so where should I go now that I've left the house? Where should I go? I've prepared. I'm in the driver's seat now. Where should I go? You see that you might spend another 30, 40 minutes thinking, this place, they're not open now. The other place, they're not open. But when you leave the house and you have a plan, you know where you're going. For example, I'm going to walk this morning. Yeah. You'll be able to now get in the car. In fact, if anybody's in the way, you could knock them down because you know exactly where you're going to. I'm using this analogy because that's the way it looks when we have dreams. We have what we are pursuing. For example, we've talked about building good relationships, knowing what to study, having a plan, trying to make sure that we keep working on it, commit to hard work, what is required, and so on and so forth. So what this means is it's very easy for me to achieve something if I know where I'm going. For example, I meet a friend as I've driven off, and they are going to, I'm going to London, but they are going to Manchester. And they say, oh, come, let's go. I'm not going to go with them. That's how our dreams are. There are people you would meet, and because you know what you're looking for, you just, okay, we have 2 minutes conversation, and you say, no. Yeah, what he's chasing is good, but it's not what I'm chasing. So I'm going to pass. But there's someone you meet along the line, and you say to yourself, okay, he's looking for something similar to what I'm looking for. Or, he's at the same stage as I am in the process of getting or finding what I'm looking for. Let's build a relationship.
Yeah.
That's how it works. And that ability to identify what you're looking for, if you put that in front of you all the time, then whether it's going out, whether it's networking, whether it's building relationship, whether it's buying things, even whether it's reading, whether it's looking for mentorship, and so on and so forth, it's very easy to find those things, because for you to achieve any dream, there is no way you will achieve a dream on your own. You need help from people. But how do you know who to go for? Isn't it by the fact that you know what you're looking for? Then you sit down, you plan, and you strategize. Based on that, you now know what is missing here and there. And all these things are a product of clear vision of whatever it is that you're looking for. If you don't have that, someone said, if you don't have a use for your time or use for your life, somebody will find a use for it for you. And that's what happens. And then you go into that stage of drift. That's where you suddenly find out that it's 10 years ago that you decided that you're going to try and fix something. And 10 years down the line, you're not going anywhere because your eyes are closed. You're just there. There are no things, there are no landmarks that you're looking out for. Because if you're going to London, There are certain things. You see the junctions counting down. You can see them. Even if it takes you 20 years to count down from here, from Northampton to London, if 5 years down the line, you are in junction 10, you've moved from 15 to 10. You can look around and know, yeah, I'm getting there. But if you look around and you see 5 years down the line, you're still in junction 15. In fact, you're now 15A, heading to 16. You can now see, look, I'm not going in the right direction, and so on and so forth. So that's what I think, why I think it's very, very important to know, what we are looking for. I mean, even if you think of when you're planning to get married, there's a dream of a family that you're looking for. And once you have that in your mind, what next do? You start looking for a person that can fit into that dream, that can help you, because you're seeing something. I know at the end of the day, it may not work out the way that we've planned, what we thought would happen. But, before you get married, there's a vision. There's something that you see. There's something you want to build as a family. And because you know that thing, that enables you, or that equips you with the tool you need to go out there and say, I'm looking for somebody who is really detailed, who is really focused on what they want to achieve, who is not too materialistic, or who is a Christian, who takes things of God seriously, and so on and so forth. So when you go out there, based on what you can see, knowing what you're looking for, you'll be able to say, that looks like a good idea. That looks like a good idea. And then suddenly that does something and say, okay, that's enough. I'm not going to go in that direction. Until you manage to target that particular person, you say, oh, tick, 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 tick. I think I'm on the right lane. And that's what I want to add to this. I'm just hoping I've not taken too much time, but I'm just trying as best as possible to explain the importance of having a clear picture of what we are looking for in order to achieve it.
That's awesome, sir.
Excellent.
Go, Mr. Goodman, go for it.
Yeah, I think, really, really good explanation there, Chidozi. You just have such a good way of laying it all out, But I just want to add to that in terms of what, as you were speaking, I was just thinking of a lighthouse, and what the purpose of a lighthouse is to help with your direction, isn't it? And to warn you of where, what to avoid, really. So when you out on the seas, for instance, you got your vision, your dreams, your goals, where you want to head, but to get there, you have to move forward. And as you're moving forward, there's obstacles in the way. Some you can't see. Others might be hidden just below the surface of the water. But for those who went ahead, who knows where the danger lies, sometimes you can be warned or forewarned. But you also have to discern who you go along with, like you mentioned. But at the same time, you also want to know, well, there is a lighthouse or a light you can see, to know what areas to bypass. And that at least gives you new direction on your journey that safeguards you. And we all have to make those adjustments for safeguarding as we continue. But the goal and the vision, the end dream, is still to get to the destination. So you might have all the things you might have on a ship, and all
your volume is cutting out, sir. Andrew, your volume.
I think there's an internet problem.
Yeah, I think we lost you. If you go out and come back in again, I think your signal is, even your picture is a little bit fuzzy. I think your signal is not brilliant. Can you go out and come back in again, sir? Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
All right, thank you. Clinton, I saw you. Are you ready to go, sir? Go for it.
um, shall we wait a little bit, or should we go ahead?
Go for it. I think he's. Oh, there we go. All right.
Yeah.
Let's
We have somebody else joining. Wow.
All right. All right. Go for it, sir.
Yeah, I was just catching up on if you were at sea and you're trying to get to a destination, but you can't see the coastline. Sometimes a lighthouse is what you need to give you that direction, but the lighthouse has been placed by somebody strategically to warn you of where not to tread and what to avoid. And I think all our dreams are like that. We get people along the way that help us and give us direction. But we also have to decide what help to take and what help to reject. And that comes down to your personal decision and your personal understanding of the situation. But I think that's what makes life so interesting, because you can't necessarily know that ahead of time until the time comes when you have to make the decision to make the change, either in change in direction or change in circumstances that you're capable of. But at the end, it's still moving forward to fulfill your dream. And I think most people have a dream which is pretty accurate, because in your head you can formulate everything. There's no limitation of what you can muster up to know what is going to satisfy you. But yes, those dreams might change, those things might change, but the main thing is that you don't stand still. Even if you try to stand still, let's say if you are at sea, the currents would actually move you on. And if you have a sail, the wind will be blowing. So there's no stopping. And I think if you think of throwing an anchor in, that's not an option, unless you're in a safe port. I think if we think of the early seafarers who used to travel around the world, they were all searching for a natural harbor where it's actually safe to throw their anchor down. And unless they found exactly where the place is, where they settle, on a repeat visit, they know exactly where to go to find that safety, and then only anchor there. And I think for us in our journey, we need to understand where that safe area is, because sometimes we need to anchor and get our supplies and repurpose our journey and understand how we can replenish those things that we have been exhausted from. But the journey goes on, and then lo and behold, as the seasons change and the weather changes and the weather gets better, they're on their journey again, fulfilling that destiny. So I think I thought I'll just share that based on what Chidozi just said. But I think we never stop repurposing our direction, and we should always be moving forward.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Some deep words there. Thank you so much for sharing. Mr. Rishi, you sound like you're good to go, sir. Go for it.
I'm going to ask you to re-ask the question, please.
Must I state the question again?
Yes, please.
Give me 1 second. Let me just find it quickly. I think you.
He was saying the question was how important is it for us to have a clear picture of what we are looking for, or of our dreams, in order to achieve it.
Okay. The reason why I asked that, I was trying to get clarity in my head. I believe I back what the guys have already said. However, I believe that you must have an idea of your dreams, because when you start off with a dream, it's impossible to be clear on what you want. The journey gives you the clarity. Just like what Chidozi and Andrew were saying, especially the idea, the example about the lighthouse. And the reason why the journey gives you the clarity is because the journey is key for your dream to bring that multiplication factor. It could be multiplication in satisfaction, multiplication in achievement, multiplication in what you might term as success, other people may term as success. So you can have an idea, but I don't think you will ever have clarity before you pursue your dream, because your dream carries its life, and anything that has life will grow, and it will mold, it will shed, it will take on, it will, you see what I mean? So I do get what you're saying in terms of clarity, maybe as a nuclear, uh, to have a starting point, a base point. And I'm saying an idea rather than clarity. And the reason why I'm using that is many of us, whether you're just starting out as a kid, whether you are a teenager, whether you're a grown person, middle age, like us, who are double checking that we're on the right path. If we actually did approach it that way, we will never, ever pursue, because it makes one think that they must have everything lined up to execute. You see what I mean? And that is not the best thinking to have. I think the best thinking, from my experience, to have is one where I am good enough with an idea to get started. Why am I saying an idea also? Is because, bear in mind, things may change trajectory. You may think that your dream and you feel so passionate that you're going to be a race car driver, but you turn out to be a guitarist. You play guitars or a pianist. Yeah. You may have started off thinking so boldly that you are going to be a singer. So you play rock star, you dress up like a rock star, everything to do with rock star, only to turn out that you're a preacher. Right? So I think once you have an idea and have an open mind to the fact that I'm going on a journey here, and I'm going to embrace my journey of learning about me and what I would like to do with life, I think that approach brings, I don't want to say necessarily clarity, but brings into focus the dream. And when I say bring into focus, I mean you stop from being here, there, and everywhere, and you begin to. Now, my reason for taking this approach is I was trying to include people at various stages of where they are in realizing that dream. Some of us may have already worked out what that dream potentially is, right? But then some of us are asking many questions because we might have been we don't feel fulfilled in particular areas of the dream. So rather than actually pursuing one now, we begin to question, well, is this actually my dream? Is it a dream? Is it wasting my time? And you actually don't realize that, hey, this is going to be a journey. And I'm going to have to be prepared to have an open mind towards this, enjoy the journey. And in doing so, you begin to experience the example of what a lighthouse provides. You begin to experience what Chidozi mentioned. So that is my view and take on it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you so much. And I think ultimately it kind of like brings us back to how can I be intentional about something if I don't even know what it is that I want?
Mm.
It brings us back to, if I know where I'm going, I will know which direction to go. If I know what I'm pursuing, I will kind of like have an idea of what are the steps that I need to take for me to obtain my dream. So it's kind of like it is the foundation. It is the starting point, because for us to go after our dreams it's a journey, isn't it? It's not just kind of like we are building a dream. And anything, I think a few weeks ago or a couple of months ago, we were even talking about if we are building a life, if we are building anything, we have to make sure that the foundations are right. We cannot ignore the foundation. I think we kind of like really went deep into that, because we know that having a brilliant character, or working on our character, is one of the things that we cannot ignore, because we can only go as far as our character is. We will only be able to go as far as our character can take us. So which means if we are building a dream, but we did not take care of for example, of our character, eventually we will have to come back to square one, because the dream might be big, but maybe I've been working on a foundation that is very shallow, a foundation that is not deep. So I get up there very quickly, and then boom, I think, oh, my dream is here. I'm living my dream right now. And suddenly I come to find that I did not do this thing. I did not do it correctly. So knowing that, I believe it's key. We got to know what it is that we are after. We got to know what it is that we're after. Like I was saying to you guys earlier, somebody wanted to say what?
Something occurred to me just now when you mentioned that word, and people usually use it. I'm living the dream. We touched on this before, I think last week and probably the week before, when we were talking about making sure that you're living your dream. And I think we did also mention this particular point, to make sure that you're present in your dream. I wanted to restate that. The only way that you can begin to have gain focus and experience clarity, I don't want to say gain, but experience it, you have to be present in your own dream, in your own vision for your life. Because if you're taking bits and other bits from people and stuff, you get caught up with the things that they experienced, and you're focusing and looking for these things that they experienced, and not really embracing your experience and how you are evolving and what you're learning. And so when you use that term just now, living the dream means that you have to be experiencing your dream and be part of your dream. And that is super key, I have learned at my age. Because if you don't, there are some key things you miss that will benefit you later in your life. That if you present now and you act on them now and you take note, when the future comes into existence, and when you meet the future, if you get that chance, you come to realize that you are equipped, you are ready. But if you miss it, you then have to play catch up, and you become a state of confusion when you're trying to figure out, am I in the right place or not? For some reason, I don't know why this dropped for me to just say this, but we need to be careful that we don't go full circle on our journey of realizing our dreams, because that can happen when you simply do not take part in your own dream. A little bit off there, but it's just about living the dream.
No, that's good, because it all brings it back to because the main thing that we are looking at is focus, isn't it? Because focus is the key. And I think if we don't know how to focus on what it is that we're after, if we're kind of like all over the place, we won't see what it is that we're after. I've got another question I want to throw out to you guys here, and I think it's important for us to kind of like have some kind of an idea between what is the difference in good intention versus intentionality, because it brings us back to focus, isn't it? Because let's hear what you guys are saying. Good intentions, good intentions versus intentionality. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think intentions don't always reach its target.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say that, is we always pressed for time to get things done for a certain activity.
Yeah.
And for me, most things take longer than what I think it's going to take in my head. And if I want to do too many good things along the journey, even that reduces the actual time that is spent on actually getting to the goal or the outcome. So being intentional is letting things go that might sidetrack you.
Yeah, that's good.
And for me, that's going to put you in a better position. It's like there's a joke that we probably have come across where the teacher writes all these questions, gives it to the class. But the instructions is first read everything before you start. Right at the bottom, it does say only do question 1. Right, so good intentions is you sat up all night studying, preparing for this exam, and the teacher wants to test your knowledge. But what is important is you're not wasting your time with just doing what you think is good and right, but to actually understand what is necessary. And to do what's necessary, you have to be intentional. There's some sort of urgency to it as well.
Yeah.
Let's say your wife's pregnant with your first child. There is an urgency, isn't it, with a date coming up? Could be 2 weeks before, 2 weeks later, a week before, a week later than that date. But there's an urgency that builds up to it. Now, the closer you get to that date, are you still going to be doing good things and running around? And no, you're going to be intentional and you're going to focus on being prepared. Your keys on your pocket. You might be at work, but your phone's on. You are aware of things that are urgent. And there's no time to fit anything else in almost. And that's where intentionality comes in. When you're focused, you can be more intentional. You will get the right result and you're more prepared. So just with your good intentions won't do any good at a time like that. So there are times where you have lots of time and you are free, where you can do good things, and your intentions might be, let's just help someone here. Maybe someone with a flat wheel, and you drive past and you can lend a hand. But you got the time, of course. That's the opposite, but that doesn't take precedence above intentionality, because intentionality brings us back to focus.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, I think intention. When we talk about good intention, just what comes to mind to me right now is when you. It's like, it's almost like we can use it as an excuse. If somebody asks, all right, so why didn't you do that? No, I intended to do it, but me intending to do something doesn't mean it's not good enough, because they know that it's almost like we want to be rewarded for intentions. It's like, no, it was in my head. I was planning to do it. That was my intention, but it's still not good enough. It's still not good enough, because planning something still doesn't mean that it's still not done. Because at the end of the day, results and reward kicks in once we go into action. Because it's almost like I have what I want to do. It's in my mind, it's in my head, it's in my diary, it's in my notebook, it's everywhere, because that's a good intention that I have. But am I intentional about it, and actually saying, no, it's not just on paper, I'm actually going to do it. And I think that's where we kind of like, sometimes when we when somebody is maybe asks you, so how come we didn't do it? No, I did plan to do it, but unfortunately, I didn't have enough time. And it almost like sounds like a valid excuse, because I intended to do it. And I think that's kind of like where we can damage ourselves. What do you guys think, Chido and Clinton? Any thoughts?
I was going to let Clinton go first. My head is still milling around this one. My head is still milling around this one. But good question. Good intentions versus intentionality. All right. So there are bases for intentions, and I think when we talk about good intentions, an intention might be good but not fit into your dream at that point in time. So there has got to be a strong basis for your intentions. For example, you want to your dream, for example, is to build something that's going to help reduce the number of let's say knife crimes and so on in the society, and you're working towards that. A really good intention is to start helping out, putting 80% of your time in helping out older people in your street, older people, that need help, being there for them and doing what they need to do. But that's not where your dream is. That's not what you want to achieve. That's not where you're being pushed to, because when we have dreams, they have a root, they have a basis, they have some force. In our cases as Christians, there's God that is there that's saying or giving us some signal to say, this is the way you should go. So first of all, there has got to be a very good basis, which is going to be the particular dream, the particular direction that you want to go. Yeah, you cannot be trying to solve a problem, and there are so many good intentions, as you know. There are so many good intentions. They're everywhere. But what is the significance of that intention to where you are going to? That's very crucial. Once you use that filter to identify what the right good intention is for you, then it's time for intentionality. The good intention now becomes the basis, the motivation for everything you do. That's where intentionality comes into play. But if you don't get it right from the foundation and coming up with a proper good intention that's aligned with who you are. For example, you want to go and compete in the Olympics, but in 100 meters race, but you don't like practicing, you don't like running. In fact, you have knee injuries and so on. It's a good thing. It's a good intention to become a gold medalist. Yeah, but naturally you can't do it. You get to the field, you're very intentional, you want to win, you want to beat Usain Bolt, in the sport, but it's not coming from a good foundation. So that's the way I would look at this. And it's very important for us as we begin to pursue whatever it is that we're pursuing, to make sure that we pass our intentions through the right filters that will qualify them as good intentions that's leading us towards a dream.
Yeah.
And when we get that, that becomes the continuous motivation that we can stand on and say, because of this reason, this is what I need to be doing. Because of this reason, this is what I need to be doing. And that's the intentionality. That's part of it. Both are really, really important, but it needs to come from the right place.
Yeah. That's really good, because from what I just picking up from what you're saying is, because there's a lot of good things that you and I can do. We have great intentions, but the question comes down to this good deed that I'm trying to do. Is it in line with my goal? Is it in line with my vision? Is it in line with my dream? Because we can become then so busy, because remember now we are talking about focus. Because focus means sometimes you have to ignore what is good and do what is important and what is needed. And sometimes we might even get to a place where we feel like, all right, I'm a bad guy if I'm telling now. I know my intention is to help you, but now if I go down this route now to help you on this, it will take me completely in a different direction. So it's not doing a good thing. It's not always a good thing, if it makes sense, because what might be good might be bad for your dream. Does it even make sense what I just said?
Mm-hmm.
Because you made a perfect example of even becoming if you want to go and run a marathon, for example. If I know my intention is or my goal is to get to a place in my physical health, this is my dream to have, which is part of my dream to be healthy and to be in great shape. So running a marathon or whatever is in line with what it is that I'm after. But because sometimes we can just become busy, but our busyness doesn't really fit into what it is that we are building. Sorry for jumping in there, Clinton. Go for it, sir.
No. I'm listening.
Yes, sir.
I take I take not a different spin, but a simpler approach, I think. I would say be mindful that your good intentions does not become the guru of procrastination. Versus the intentionality, which is the much needed action to get you there. And why I put it like that is, I'll go back to the first question, which was, I don't personally think that you need clarity on your idea. You need an idea. Why you need an idea? Well, you need a starting point to make sure while you're pursuing that idea that you're part of those pursuits. But don't sit down and pursue it in your head. You need to move on from that point, because that also equates to good intentions. You intend to actively and in reality to bring your dream to reality, to fruition. But 6 years has passed and you're still sounding excited, but you've been talking about all the plans. You've actually written down your plans, but you've actively done nothing. Now you do also have the scenario where you have thought about it, you have done some actions, but then what happened is that you feel that you have not done good enough action given a particular time frame, that you should see a picture forming of reality and this dream coming to fruition. And therefore now you begin to increase your percentage of good intentions, potential procrastination, and you have decreased because all of a sudden you've become a spectator of your own journey towards your dream. Because you're unsure now whether or not you're going in the right direction, whether this dream is for you. And a lot of us find ourselves in that exact position where we have started off, we've gone running, this marathon has started, we've gone. So we left on Monday, the marathon ended on Friday. But in the following week, we're still actually now restarting halfway in the marathon, and the thing already ended. But you got to remember that was somebody else's marathon that you was taking part of, and that was not your marathon, right? And therefore, number one, you were living inside somebody else's experience to try and hopefully see whether or not that works for you. Now you need to take the actions to see if it works for you. You have then begun to just apply good intentions. So I think here what I want to make very, very clear on this particular point to anybody watching this, I think, is this. Be careful that you're not exercising too much procrastination and more procrastination than action and being intentional, because there is going to be a level of procrastination, a level of where you're actually dreaming about what this thing could become and so on. So you have these good intentions that you're working on, yeah, because you're painting the picture, and that's part of painting the break picture in your brain. But you can't stay in that state for long, because if you stay in that state for long, then you are not intentionally doing anything. And intentionally equates to actively doing something and you actively doing it. So like you said, Kendrick, that you've got to make sure that you're actually doing something that's in line with your dream, and not necessarily something in line is something that's taking you outside of where you intend to be. So very interesting question and angles. um, I guess the primary thing here is to make sure that have some sense of direction of where you're going and what you want to do. Start with something. And I always say, because I've always learned this, write it down. You're never going to remember exactly the way that it came to you today, 5 years from now. But if you write it down and you're able to use that as sort of like a Bible for that particular thing, then the clarity, it becomes, it evolves into a vision, it evolves into something. And therefore, every time you tend to veer off or you want to question, is this for you or not, you gain the clarity And then as you go along, little by little, you begin to add to that.
Mm.
So if I asked you 10 years ago, here's an example, I think. No, not 10 years ago. We're all in our over 40. So if I asked you
Okay.
No.
30,
You could-
you can't run from it.
I
If I
just feel
asked you 30 years ago, all of us,
Yeah.
what did we want to do in life? Where did we see ourselves? We could potentially see a spark back then leading to where we are now, potentially. But the clarity which we have now is purely because we would have pursued that in some form or fashion and was part of that journey actively. That's the only way you could end up with the clarity now. If you weren't part of it, you will never have the clarity. You'll probably still be in a confused state. And you will never be able to see the involved, because if I asked every one of us right now to write one sentence, probably quite hard, but to write down what you think you thought where you would be when you were 17, 18, the crucial stage. Yeah, I call it the crucial stage because that's the point when everybody wants you to be everything and you have no bloody idea. Very few of us have the great thing to figure out, right, this, I'm going to be a pilot, and you've pursued that. Very few, right? Now, fast forward to 30 years later, and I ask you the same question, the clarity that comes forward. And if I ask you this 30 years from now, the clarity that will come from that, you would be surprised.
Mm.
So my own thing to myself is to write down my vision every year. This is a thing to myself I started from this year. And I go back, write it down every time. So rather than writing a New Year's resolution, I write down my vision that I see, that I would like to pursue for that year. And the reason for that is that I am then going to look at how I've been coming along, because this is something you can also share with your kids. You can also share with somebody else who is trying to come along that same path and saying, well, how can I, is there anything I've seen you done so well, or maybe you speak so well as a public speaker or whatever. How do you do it? Now, you can practically go back from those points because you've written it down. And you can come with a punch and deliver something that is of value to them in a short space of time. If you don't write it down for you to deliver it, this is why, I know it's over time, so I got to finish up, but this is why I think it doesn't matter how many companies you go work for. One CV don't work for every company. This is why they keep asking you for a CV. Because they also want to see if what you're seeking is aligning with what they're looking for.
Mm.
Yeah. So there ends my speech.
Good speech, sir. Good speech. Wow. Chiro, you look like you wanted to say something, so go for it.
No, that's amazing. What Clinton has said has just brought up the other side. I know we are over time, but this is really important to all of to all of us, and to the people who will be listening or watching, or who are watching now, who will be watching later. The topic that we've talked about tonight is really, really crucial, not just for you from your side, but it's the fact that we've mentioned that, from what Clinton has said, that the people who are looking to do business with you, who are looking to be employed by you, who are looking to get into a relationship with you, they have their eyes looking out for those things. So if we don't even become intentional about what we want to achieve every time, we're not just doing ourselves a disservice. We are doing the other people who might have benefited from what we have a disservice, because as we are actively seeking opportunities, looking for people who fit into that hole, some people are also doing that. So if we're not doing that and we want to go in the world and become successful, then we are just setting up ourselves for failure, because there are some people who are really, really intentional, who know what their good intentions are, who are very intentional about what they're looking for, and they can qualify or disqualify you straight away once they start a conversation with you. So although it is important that we pursue whatever it is we're pursuing with good intentions and being intentional all the time, it's also important to know that we're not just doing it because this sort of switches us on all the time, because it just looks like we're being watched. Everywhere you appear, you have to appear with that personality, with that intention, the level of intentionality that is required for somebody to see you. We've talked about different professions that people can look at and say, oh, I want to be like you, and so on. There's something that they see before they say they want to be like you. There are certain things that people will see and they say, I know he's really good at that, but you know what? After the show, I had a brief chat, with him, and to be honest, I know he's got some good things going. I am not interested. Sorry, thank you. That sort of thing. And that can happen to anybody. That's all I wanted to add. I thought that was a very, very clever dimension to look at this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much for sharing that.
I know you need to finish up, but just very quickly, can I say this? A very exciting note to make here that I just thought of. I think the Bible says that your dream shall make room for you. It's very exciting that when you apply intentionality, you begin to see, while you are working on you intentionally, via your actions, your dream becomes even closer to you. So it's very exciting to know that when you lift your hand, whether your hand, your brain, whatever you're using to act, your dream is just ready to come and jump at you and give you a big hug and just say, let's go. It's exciting, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Any final word from you, Andrew? Anything you wanted to add?
Is he mute?
Yeah, I think he might be mute.
You okay?
I don't think he can hear us.
No? You're good. Sorry, doesn't want to unmute. Well, gentlemen, this was just another level, and and just for me to add something, final point on there, it comes down for us to know how to focus, because that's one of the most powerful things that you and I can learn to do, is to focus. Because I think when we get to a place, if we are all over the place, doing everything, it's like chasing this dream, chasing that, but with a lack of focus is probably one of the most important things that can lead us to a place of despair, where we don't see our dreams come to pass. So let's go and just meditate on this, because I believe that if we can get to a place where we can learn how to laser focus on what it is that we're after, we will see how things will just speed up, and we will see some great results coming our way. All right. So we'll continue again next week. Thank you so much for your time, gentlemen, and everyone else. We'll see you guys soon. All right. Bye-bye now.
Thank you. God bless.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yes. Bye, everyone.